You know, I never imagined my life would turn into a saga about a little plastic for sale sign. But apparently, if you live in a certain type of neighborhood, one with a board that thinks the CC and RS are the Ten Commandments and the bylaws were etched onto stone tablets, just putting up a sign in your own front yard can set off something close to DEFCON 1. So, let me take you back, right to the first domino. It started simple enough. My family and I had outgrown our house. Good memories, but not enough elbow room. And when a probate deal came up across town, no HOA, a nice chunk of land, space for my woodworking, we jumped on it fast. Didn't even think to warn anyone in Willowbrook Estates. Because, hey, it's still America, right? You're supposed to be able to sell your own home. So I did what anyone does. 2 basic for sale by owner signs. One on the lawn, one at the corner, plus a flyer with a QR code taped inside the window. Vanilla. My phone pings a few times, some real buyers, a spam call or two, nothing dramatic. Until, that is, there's a pounding at the door hard enough to rattle the glass. Standing there is Bax, the HOA's favorite rent-a-cop, mirrored sunglasses, personality of a traffic cone, and some woman in a blazer introducing herself as Marcy from Willowbrook Preferred Realty. She says preferred, like it's a presidential seal. They want to know if I have sign permits. For my own yard. I laugh, honestly thinking it's a joke. But no, turns out that community standards require every sale to go through their approved broker, and signs must be committee approved, size regulated, color-coded. It's part of keeping a cohesive look, Marcy says, while Bax is already radioing in like he's about to call in a SWAT team. Now, I'm not one to go looking for a fight. I mow my lawn, pay my dues, keep the trash cans on a tight schedule. But even I know the law's the law, and the HOA can't ban a simple for sale sign. Still, Marcy's got that smile like she's reading from a script that doesn't include common sense. Easier if you just take them down and schedule a consult with us. Nope, not happening. This is my property, I tell them, and shut the door. 1 hour later, the signs are gone. I check the doorbell cam. Yep, Bax and Marcy, broad daylight, tossing my sign into the golf cart like it's contraband. I print out the stills and march up to the clubhouse. Curtis, the community manager, doesn't even look up from his desk. You'll have to appeal to the architectural committee. Next meeting's in 5 weeks. 5 weeks. The house will be sold by then. You can't just take property off my lawn. I say, that's theft. Curtis just hands me a form, as if we're arguing over pool hours. Fine. That night, I order 4 more signs. Next morning, Marcy and Bax are back, this time with a tape measure, literally measuring the sign on my lawn. When Bax goes to yank it again, I come outside. Touch that sign, and I'm calling the police. Not 911, but I'm reporting a theft. They freeze. Marcy, undeterred, calls 911 anyway, and claims I'm a trespasser. Yeah, that happened. Cops show up, 2 board patrolmen, just doing their jobs. I show them my deed, my ID, the video of my sign being taken. One cop just whistles. The other, after hearing Marcy go on about hostile homeowners, says, "Ma'am, use the non-emergency line next time. False reports are a crime." The officer tells Bax and Marcy, "You can't go on a private property and take things. Period." For once, someone in authority draws a clear line. I think it's over. Wrong. The next day, a violation notice appears in my mailbox. Unapproved signage, commercial activity, because apparently selling your own house is now commerce. And, get this, unauthorized security cameras visible from the street. Their own security cams watch every car that comes through the gate, but now my ring cam is the problem. I sit down, make coffee, and actually read through the covenants. Sure enough, 1 sign is allowed, as long as it's a normal size. Cameras are fine as long as they point at your property. No ban on selling your own house. I send a certified letter to the board, point out the exact sections, and copy in the State Consumer Protection Office. I also hire a real estate attorney, someone I know from work, and have him send a pointed letter about state statutes and homeowners' rights. Within a day, the board emails me an invoice for $400 in fines and attaches a screenshot of a brand new rule. All sales must go through their preferred brokerage program. And here comes the twist. A neighbor named Trini shows up, walking her golden retriever, who, honestly, knows more local gossip than the board does. Trini tells me everyone knows Marcy is related to a board member and they get a kickback for every listing. They scared my aunt into using her last year, she says. Charged a fee just for a staged photo of the pool. Not illegal to be gross, maybe illegal to force people to use one business. I thank her, go back to packing, hope it'll blow over. But power doesn't fade that easily. I catch maintenance guys loading my sign into their truck. Call the cops. Again, same officer as before. He tells them, on camera, give the sign back, or I'll write you up for theft. Then he walks me to the clubhouse for a supervisor meeting. The board president, Oplin, is there, looking like she's about to negotiate a hostage release. Curtis hovers, Marcy's late, and the officer opens with, if you keep calling 911 for this, there will be criminal charges. Oplin tries to slide a paper across the table, remove the signs, and they'll waive the fines. Waived by who? I ask. There are no real fines here, and you can't override the law. Marcy jumps in with, we have buyers. We can help you close. You want minimal disturbance? I say, try not calling the cops on your own residence. The room is dead quiet. The officer notes in his report that I'm the lawful owner, have the right to display a for sale sign, and any future calls better be actual emergencies. I lock my sign with a metal cable, but the next morning, it's cut. I go digging through public records, and what do you know? Marcy's preferred brokerage is basically an LLC owned by the management company, and the referral fees trace back to board members. I'm not out to dox anyone, but I make a packet of the public info and start handing it out at the neighborhood garage sale. Every neighbor who stops by has a story. Missing signs, weird fees, pressure to use the program. Now here's where the cavalry arrives. I meet a woman named Sally, just a neighbor, she says, except she works for the state's real estate licensing division. I'm just here for a chisel set, she says, but she takes a packet, photographs my video stills, and tells me, unofficially, to hang on to my videos. Soon after, Curtis tries to shut down my garage sale table for soliciting. I tell him it's public sidewalk, and anyway, I'm just giving out water. Later, I get a text from an unknown number. You're making this worse for yourself. I show it to my friendly officer neighbor. He logs it as harassment. Then comes the final act. The buyers are ready, agent in tow, toddler in the car. Suddenly, Marcy, Bax, and a fresh-faced committee member are at the curb, telling the agent the sale can't go through because of violations. I walk out, point out there are no valid fines, no liens, and you can't block a sale because you don't like who's selling it. The agent stands her ground. Title is clear. Closing scheduled. The board threatens an injunction. I counter, try it, and you'll be hearing from the state about interfering with a legal sale. The buyer's toddler just roars at us with his dinosaur, as if to say, grown-ups are ridiculous. After that, the board sends me a letter suspending my amenity privileges. I almost frame it for the memories. But the real blow lands on them. A certified packet from the state, demanding all records about the brokerage program and sign removals. Suddenly, the preferred program is suspended. A formal letter goes out. Recent actions not authorized. The association will not interfere with lawful sales. A special election is called. Names disappear from the board. I take them to small claims for the signs, the lawn damage, and the hassle. I win, not a fortune, but enough to sting, and the magistrate says, for the record, emergency services are not for code enforcement. You will not do that again. The sale closes. I hang my old sign above my workbench in the new shop like a trophy. Weeks later, the licensing division finds Marcy's brokerage and puts them on probation. Neighbors text me photos, new for sale signs, real agents, variety at last. Someone posts a Know Your Rights flyer at the clubhouse, QR code leading straight to the state consumer page. Some bored folks quit, others stick around and try to do better, a few grumble and move to the social committee. One neighbor even bakes me a pecan pie. Did it fix everything? Of course not. There are always going to be people who think power is a personal fiefdom, and there'll always be neighbors who shrug as long as their grass is green. But I made my point. More than that, the community learned a little about boundaries, the real kind, not the ones someone writes in a rulebook and enforces with threats and clipboards. So, if you're fighting your own HOA, here's my advice. Document everything. Read your covenants. Don't let anyone tell you rules outrank rights. Use the non-emergency line, and hang on to your dignity. The road out is longer than you want, shorter than you fear. And in the end, there's a deep satisfaction in watching the place that once told you, get compliant, post its own correction, right there next to the swim lesson flyer. If you've ever faced off with a petty board or a clipboard-wielding neighbor, drop your story below. Was justice done, or did power win again? Who's right? Who's wrong? Where's the line in your community? I'd love to hear what you think. And hey, if you ever need a for sale sign that's seen some action, I know a guy.